This is an eye update about my fillers and threads and PRP. So I have pretty rough eyes without it, and I had some Tyndall, so I removed it, and not until entirely, but almost entirely. I had big craters, and I just had to. It was just the forever worry whether something blue here was an issue. I saw a little stripe going down here of like a vein-like thing. So I seriously, I hated it because, you know, these things are very costly. I sort of really had to push through and go one by one, face by face, because it's a lot of work. It's very, very stressful because it's very, very intimidating and scary. But you know, you have to do it, so you do it, and then you have to pay for it too. So at all, it's just devastating, but I did it. And so I tried to remove it here too. I had here a little bit, it seemed to have been going, migrating. And so I did that. So what I first did was look at the videos, and I saw some of the doctors actually putting it on the bone. I remember a beautician girl putting it on the bone with me. She had diluted it, so it just poof, went right away. But it looks good. The thing is, it's very intensive. You have to really use the blood needle and go in there, and then fan it over. And God knows what you're really doing if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm not doing that. So I did another thing is also stupid, but much less intensive and scary. It's just go in there and then try hit the bone like you do, like you would here, like I would here on the cheeks. And then don't move, aspirate. If it's okay, inject a little, inject a little. And so I did. And I used a soft filler because well, it's generally told to be better for the eyes. What I, however, noticed is that it just ran out. It just was so fluent that I suppose that it just didn't come up. It didn't do anything. And so I thought, well, that's too bad. I have to get some other filler and do what I used to, because I had these huge problems here. I thought, let's get a thicker filler earlier, a few years ago. So I did that right, I suppose, you know, for myself. I'm not advising. So I got the other filler, and instead of on the bone, I went a little deeper than superficial, so that you like don't sit in the vein area. You're not, you know, you do aspirate and inject, but you also still have to not sit right there. It's just not right, you know. But also, if you're on the superficial area too much, you get the blue hue, the Tyndall. So I did that, and I left a gap. I did it intentionally. I was like, okay, now we're going to fix it with PRF or PRP. So because, you know, the top layer still very wrinkly and a little dent, but very wrinkly, could be dissolved with more filler. The problem could be dissolved, handled with more filler, but then we had the Tyndall. So instead, my plan was to take PRP or PRF and just fill it up. Then I got the bright idea. I was in the middle of saying, well, why don't I do like all these other people do? Stick a lot of threads in there. Just mono threads, of course, no barbs and nothing special. Just it's basically it's a stitching thread thing that's used everywhere for the body, you know, and it gives the body some growth, and so it grows around the thread, becomes a little thicker, and then you have a better skin. It really works. So what I, however, had was the dent of the crepey skin, and while normally you stick it in the thicker skin here and you go towards the eye, I was thinking if I do that, then this is going thicker and this won't really do anything. And I didn't know that. I just thought that. So instead, I thought I'm going to do only the crepey skin. And that was really kind of dumb. But it did turn out okay. What I did was stick it right at the crepey skin in the crepey skin. And so I started doing this, and on and on and on and on and on and on. And before I knew it, I had one whole pack in one eye. And this wasn't so damaged. And so you can see the fill is a little thicker here than it is elsewhere. And that's exactly where I put like a few, like maybe 4, and then maybe 2 here. And you can almost see it here now. Then I let it go. And oh no, wait, I put the rest in the other eye because that's the devastating eye. And so I was done. And that was really, really hard because when I looked, I saw all these little input marks, these little dots, and you know they'll go away, but when they didn't go away, it took a very long time. Like here, they should already be gone, but in crepey skin, they might never go. So I was very concerned. And then, of course, all the lines also came up because crepey skin is as thin as, well, how thin is crepey skin? It's like a hair, really. It's nothing. And so this crepey skin is building up on skin around exactly the thread. So you can see like the thread, hardly. Now comes the skin grow around it. Now you can see a line of a thread. And so some of them were curled, some of them were straight, some of them were good, some of them are, you know, really, really bad. And then all these little fickles. I look like a mistake. A mistake had happened. So I worried a little and thought I have to let it go because that I cannot do. But then I came up with the thought, no, let's try red light. So I used the red light. And the tool that I bought didn't do a lot, but I was really spoiled. I used to have the tan, I'm looking for it, where did I put it? I must have put it somewhere. I had it here somewhere. I had the Tanda. This is an older device that like had super red light. It was like, if you used it, a lot of red light came out, not like nowadays. And they said, it really worked. You know, I once when I wanted it really bad, I bought it after years of wanting it and needing it. It was very expensive. I tested it at Sephora on my hands. I put some of their cream and then I put some Shiseido over it, something. And then I just went on and on and on. And for 5 minutes, like maybe one more time. And I looked, and forever and a day, I think still today, I don't know if you can see it, the one hand is better than the other. So I realized that was good, and so I went out and tried. And then one day I could buy it. I went out and tried. I saved up for it, and tried to save up for it, and then I bought it. And then I used it on my face. I had like some of these really big pores that somehow came. You almost see a little scar here. You see a little scar here. That was a really big pore. You have these suddenly times. You're okay for years. You're doing great. You're looking wonderful. And suddenly, boom, you have crepey skin here like the next day. And it's so crazy. It's just not right. It's just not fair. It's not right. It's like someone's just doing something and then saying, wake up, bitch, because you look like this now. That's what it looks like. That's what happens, you know? And so, yeah. I used it, and I used it, and I used it. This was thick, troubled, thick, old skin. You know, it was suddenly old and thick, and, you know, just very hard to do in 5 minutes. So I sat on my bed, I remember, stuck it in the plug, and I just went on, and I just said, no, I'm not going to stop until it's done. And it was done. I removed the sagginess, the looseness, the now scar. I think this is it, actually. See a little there? I removed the whole thing. Everything was over, and I was so happy. Every now and then I did it again, and then I kept kind of like now, like always kind of youthful. But then it broke, and I actually had it in my safe. I have a mini safe. And you might keep it for documents or your last money or your keys to the apartment of your friend or whatever, maybe even your gun. But I have my beauty things in it. And that's because I don't want anybody to touch it when they burglarize, and they do a lot. So I I once got it out and it was kaput. It wasn't working anymore. Tried a little, shook it a little, and did this and nope, it was over. So now I had this eye problem, and I thought, wait, I'm gonna try to fix it. And so I got duct tape, and I forced it back on and put the duct tape around it. I stuck it in there, and I recorded it. It was like exactly how this went. Well, now we're gonna do it. And I turned it on, and nothing happened. And I was like, and then I take some of the duct tape out of the area exactly of the light, because it shouldn't be startled, or rather obstructed. So I took the obstruction of the duct tape of the lamp itself and tried, and it worked. Yes, and stick it on my eye. So for I don't know, I think 45 minutes I did red light by Tanda. And after that, smooth and almost entirely good. It wasn't because, you have to keep doing it, and it broke during the session and I couldn't turn it back on. So that was over. I needed another solution. But I waited it out. I thought, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Maybe I can buy another Tanda. Well, they're not for sale. Some fake things that you don't want to buy. It's only wasting your money. So don't do it. I come to the moment that it really wrinkles, and I did record it, but it was so embarrassing because I made the shot from above downwards with my camera. It was midsummer, very warm, and so I had on like a bikini like bra thing, and I had the machine in front of me. I'm not that good at this recording stuff. Not that way. I was always good at visualizing and saying this is how to do it, but having this stuff myself, come on. Sorry. Anyway, so I sit there and I make a mess. Really, it blows up. It's vacuum cup. It's a vacuum cup. This is pure F. And what you do is you take a little blood, and when you have it, you spin it around the machine like a doctor, and the top layer will be white. Then you take it out, and then you use it in your face. So this is magic, right? Some of it is PRP stays thinner. It's not as strong as pure F. Pure F can be made so strong that people put it in their knee. Doctors, of course, put it in a patient's knee to cure them from knee problems. So having severe problems that there's nothing between their knee bones. It hurts, or maybe there's something. It's not enough. So they stick the needle in, a really long needle, and put all that PRF in there. And also the dentists, they take their PRF, they spin it a little different, so it comes out different. So it comes out as a chunk, and then the chunk can be recreated a little more with I think, I don't know with what, but they make it a pre-bone material, and then if they pull out a tooth or a lot, they can stick that in there, and then you just have a new jawline inside where there's supposed to be holes in blood. There's now a filled up PRF. You can obviously do that as a dentist, because the problem is you have to know exactly where you. Please don't try this at home, but they do it. It's very interesting. I don't even think it's that expensive. I was once there for an extraction. I think he said it was 500 extra. So I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Forget it. But I might have been better off doing it. But the thing is, a dentist obviously cleans you up, scrapes you out, gives you, purifies or sanitizes your jaw before he inserts. You cannot just do that. Obviously, don't try that, okay? But if you make it less thick, then you can use it within 5 minutes, I think. So you take the blood, you put it in there, you spin it out, you take it out, and you put it in your face within 5 minutes. If you do it and you make the right PRF, a lot of ladies, a lot of people spin it on 3 minutes or 7 minutes or whatever. They all make all kinds of, and one machine goes faster and one machine goes slower. So you have no idea really what to do anymore. So you have to find, or just go with the doctor's advice of how fast. My favorite example on the platform says it's 5 minutes on 700, or it's 7 minutes on 5. No, it's 5 minutes on 5 on 7. So you put it on 700 and let it go for 5. The thing is, the best it's made the thicker it becomes. So if you have, like I have here, a dent, well, you can't really see it. Here you can see this dent here. See, you can really see that in the right light, in the sun. It's really not right, right? So because I only did this because this was much worse, I figured I'll do it later. So if I put PRF in here that's not as strong, it will maybe fill it up a little bit, and maybe it will, this actually PRP, I'm drifting to a different topic, but the thicker, the better, right? Anyway, so to continue, I got the blood out of my arm and put in the machine. And when I took it out, I remember having read a comment, a really nice lady who knows a lot about it, saying, whatever you do not do this. And of course I did it. And so I messed with it while doing it, popped open. I had a little left. I had a little, this wonderful miracle of life. I still had some PRP, a really thick needle full of PRP, so about a milliliter, I suppose. I put it on top of the threads, within the threads. I recorded everything and I posted it between the lines exactly. So for instance, this line is not so ugly anymore, but it would have been on the surface. Then I would have injected it right here, very superficial, right in the crepey stuff, and here, and let it go. And then I was like, no, I don't think that's enough. So I went to the bathroom with a huge light, and I just injected a whole bubble of it, like it was a really big bloated bubble, and one here too. And then I let it go, and now it's okay. It's not perfect, but it's okay. And I noticed that over time, it's just now months ago. What about the video first, before I forget? I recorded it in that bikini thing, and I just felt so embarrassed. I was like, my boobs are too big for this. You know, you have your small shoulders, and your hands are now full in the recording. With me, it was my boobs. You know, it just didn't work. So I removed it. It was too much. It wasn't, and it blew up, and you know, everything went wrong. But I regret, because it was a process, and now I can only tell about what I did. It took a while. It took a while, and then it was good right away. The swelling went down, and it didn't take a while. It was good. But then it started to grow, because PRP also is growth serum. PRP right directed on threads is what I wanted to get at, is quite amazing for crepey skin, because this was a really big gap. Okay, the PRP grew into skin, apparently. See that? And I don't see any threads anymore. See, maybe very lightly. Why so high? I don't know, maybe they moved. But the skin is not crepey anymore. There's a layer that's crepey that I just peeled lightly. Well, not as light, but the skin in the gap, in the dent, is now filled not just with threads, but with bonded threads in PRP. And I thought maybe that's a really good thing to say, because you might just put PRF there, you might work it all out. You might put PRP in, and it might work it all out. But if it doesn't work it all out, you know, maybe doctors already do that. But it's really handy to stick all these threads there and make it all work out a little better. Anyway, so my eyes are good. They still aren't exactly good. And while they are growing, which is what I was saying, they come up more and more and more, I was a little concerned that maybe I had to dissolve a little of the filler, because now the PRF and the threads are coming so hard up. And so I did wait it out. I did, because I don't want to do it. And I thought, maybe if I have to do it, I will take the bone filler out a little. You know, maybe one dot here and one dot there. It looks pretty good. I'm tweaking now, and that's it. So I hoped it would work out, and it did. Eventually I started to press in a position the filler a little more because it was too much on the bone, so I just put my finger really on the orbit and then I push it down. I'm not doing that now. I can show you maybe maybe I can. Okay, so you go in there, you sit on the bone, you find the bone of the orbit, and then you press the filler down. The thing is, then it will be here, and then there's a trick I learned from a beautician, doctor-ish person, to roll your finger. Please don't pay attention to my nails. To roll, and then it sort of becomes more doable. It's much better now. So I pressed it better, and then I thought maybe I can also do this and just squeeze it down a little because it climbed up too much, right? And I don't want to remove it. Seriously, don't. And then I saw that it's more natural now. There's a little, no, I don't see, yeah, just a little bit of a tear through there. This is slightly dented. I'll fix it. But it's more natural because I press it down a little, you know. And that's kind of what you need. I fixed it up. I have these dents here. I see now while I'm massaging, so I'm making a mess of it. I shouldn't do it too much. I should fill in the smallest bit of dent here, and then I usually get a little thing here that maybe I can fill with PRF, so I don't look like, you know, this is a good example. See that? See, yeah, you shouldn't really have that, so you should like fill that a little like that. And then here also smallest bit that I didn't treat yet, and then maybe you can correct this with a drop of PRF. So that's the eyes.